36 of Show Me How It's Done. Today we're going to be playing with 3 new products that are going to be coming out August 3rd. 2 of them are going to be free items that you can actually earn with a $60 purchase, and one of them will be a bundle from the new catalog. So I thought, what better way to start off the catalog than a Christmas in July card? So I hope you are ready to play with some of our new paper and create this adorable little card. So this little section here, this is the feature of our card today, and it's called not a triangle because, you know, it has 4 sides when we're cutting it. It's called a quadrangle card. So if you are Google searching what that is, you'll find some other cards with this fun little cut on it. But I decided I was going to use a couple of our new products and show you how to use the fold here. So let me just walk you through a couple of the new products before I give you measurements. So this first one I'm sure caught your eye. Look how gorgeous this paper is. So this is the Dazzling Specialty Designer Series paper. You get 8 sheets of 6x6 paper, and look at the shimmer detail on that. The catalog pages cannot do it justice. They almost should just have like a scratch and like view piece on it because this is so amazing. So I haven't done anything with this beyond put it on my card after cutting it, but I've already seen so many people coloring it with their blends, using it for borders and all of that. So we're gonna play with this more, but this is available while supplies last with a $60 order starting August 3rd, okay? The second paper that I know you're going to love is this Peaceful Prints DSP. So this comes in 12 by 12 sheets, and this is also a free item with a $60 purchase. So here's the front of it. This little deer, it actually does coordinate with the Peaceful Deer bundle that we're using. And then there's the back. There's some very generic, love the buffalo check, patterns for you to use as well. So a great Christmas pack if you need to stock up on some paper. And we're featuring this little gingham or buffalo check with the snowflakes on it today. Last product that we're going to showcase is this Peaceful Deer stamp set and punch. So you can buy this as a bundle, and I believe it's about $47. I'd have to double check that. So basically, if you bought this bundle and maybe a package of paper or some ink or something, you're almost at the $60 mark where you could earn one of those paper packs for free. So it's well worth planning your orders out and just making sure you can get the most for your dollar during the next 2 months, because we don't want you to put in an order of $52 and miss out on getting something free if you just added $8 more. So just keep that in mind. If you have questions about how things work or you don't yet have a demo or catalog, please message me and I'm more than happy to get you set up. So without further ado, actually I'll put that on the ground. Let's get going. So I'd like to start you off with the easy parts of this card, which is going to be our standard kind of card base cutting. So let's just get that out of the way. So for my card base today, I chose to use the soft succulent cardstock. I have cut this at 4 1/4 by 11 inches, and I've put a score mark at 5 1/2. So this is my card, and I'm just gonna grab a bone folder if I have one. Nope, out of reach. Okay, use the edge of my block to make a nice crisp line here. And this card will now open upwards, just because I thought that was fun. Now for my next layer, I'm going to use Evening Evergreen. So I need 1 layer for the front of my card and 1 for this writing panel on the inside of my card. So they are the exact same measurements. I need 4 by 5 1/4, and I'll need 2 of them. So when you're attaching these to your card, the one on the front, I'm going to pop up on dimensionals, And then the one on the inside, we're simply going to use tape to put that in. So hello to those of you who are watching. Kathy, Kayla, Jen, thank you. Nice to see you guys. So I'm just gonna get this popped up for you. Kind of wanted it not to blend in with the background as much because you really do want this sparkle piece to kind of shine. So I felt separating it from the green background made that happen. Hi, Sheila. And Tanya, hello. There we go. Okay, so this is on the front. This guy goes on the inside, and I'm just going to use some double-sided tape. Seal will also work perfectly for you, or you can even just use some glue on the back of this too. But usually I like to put one piece on the inside of like a white or ivory so I have something to write on. But this card I just thought was so stunning that we're going to add that extra wow factor and give a frame to our project too. Okay. So now while I have the inside opened up here, let's go ahead and cut this piece of ivory. You can use white as well if you want it to kind of blend with the snowflakes on the front, but I thought ivory was also a really good color. So I've measured this at 3 3/4 by 5 inches, and that's going as my second layer, so you have something nice to write on. And of course you could certainly stamp maybe some trees in the bottom corner here, or a couple deer as well, something to tie the front of your card into the inside of your card. But those are all finishing touches that are easy to do after the fact. So for now, I'm just going to do this. Okay, so here's my card so far. We're going to do one last piece for the front, and then I will get you intricately cutting this piece here. So this one is my designer series paper from that Peaceful Prints DSP. I've cut it at 3 3/4 by 5 inches, and we're going to put it flat, so with some tape, onto that layer of Evening Evergreen. So if you are somebody who likes to conserve paper, keep in mind this little section here at the top will be covered. So if you want, you could take a die or even the deer punch and go ahead and utilize some of this empty space for a later project. So I'm going to cut a deer. I have no idea what I will use him for, but I'm just going to get him out of the way because I just like to keep as much of my DSP as possible. And because I can't get a ton of this one, I can only earn it for free, I'm a little bit cautious with it. So make sure now to put this, oops, I put that in the wrong side. Okay. Well, I can do an opposite card. That's okay. Don't do what I did. Make sure you cut on the right side. So my card's going to be opposite now, and that's okay. Okay, so we've finished our card base. We need to work on this little fun section. Okay, so we're going to move this out of my way because I don't need it at the moment. This one I'm also just going to move up. Hopefully you can still see it. Actually, you don't need to see it for the moment. You will need to cut yourself 2 pieces of paper to do this. So this little patterned piece, whatever you decide you want this to be, is going to need 1 6x6 paper. And we're going to get actually 4 cards out of it. And then the base layer underneath it, I've also used Evening Evergreen, if you can't tell. We're going to need 6.5 by 6.5. Okay, I am going to show you how to do this on 2 pieces of Very Vanilla because you're going to have trouble seeing my pencil marks on something like this. But if you're following me, this piece here with the shininess would just be one of your 6x6 pieces. And this piece here for the back would be a piece of 6.5 by 6.5. Okay. So let's talk in terms of shiny piece. Okay. Pretend this is shiny. This is 6 by 6. So what I'm going to do is with my ruler and pencil, I'm just going to make a little tick mark at 1.5 on all 4 of those sides. Okay. So this is why I'm doing this on the vanilla for you, because you won't be able to see on the shiny piece if I was to do that. So 1.5 on all 4 of the sides. Keep flipping. And you will need a trimmer handy for this project as well. Okay, so hopefully you can see my little tick marks, all 4 of them. Now it does not matter which way you decide to start this, because they're all in the exact same spot and they're all evenly distributed. So pick 2 points that are directly opposite one another and line them up in the groove of your cutting blade. Okay, so I have one of my marks up here at the top and one of them resting in the groove here at the bottom. Gently close this up and slice that in half. Okay, so you have 2 pieces of paper right now. You'll see you have one score mark that's clearly visible on both of them. Does not matter, once again, which one you choose to do first, but whatever you do, line up this edge that you've cut to the top of your board and then move it over until your little tick mark is lined up into that cutting groove. Okay, don't need to measure anything or line anything up on the top. Just get that little tick mark lined in this groove here and cut. Okay, so that gives you 2 pieces now, and I promised you we would get 4 cards out of this one piece. So once again, that edge that I've cut on gets lined up nice and flat to the top. I'm going to move this line over until it's in the track for me to cut. Okay, so that's why I say it doesn't matter what order you do it in. We're cutting them all, and they'll all look very random to you until you actually start kind of flipping them around and playing, and you'll realize that, oh, they're actually 4 of the exact same cuts. I just had to get them by piecing together a weird cut. Okay, so you have 4 of them. They're exactly the same. So that's beautiful. And my piece here actually was this way. There we go. Because I did my cutting on the back of it. So there, I have my shiny piece. And now let's pretend we're doing our base layer. So this is the Evening Evergreen. And I have a piece of 6.5 by 6.5. With my ruler, I'm doing the exact same idea as before, but instead of the 1.5 mark, I'm putting a score mark at 1 3/4. Okay, so 1 3/4 all the way around my project. On all 4 of the sides. And hopefully you can see this a lot nicer than if I was to do it on the green. Wouldn't really work. Okay, so I've done a score mark at 1 3/4 on all 4 sides, and I'm going to cut the exact same way. So pick 2 opposing points and make sure they are both lined up with my cutting line. Have 2 pieces once again in front of me. I'm going to take that line that I've just cut on and rest it to the top of my page. Move this little tick over until it lines up with my cutting blade. There's 2 of them. And once again, lining this piece up now and moving this little tick over till it lines up in the cutting blade. Like so. So we have 4 of them as promised. That was my layer of Evening Evergreen, and you can choose whether to face it frontwards or backwards if you've got a double-sided piece of paper, but because I've already cut this piece and it's facing this way, we're gonna go with this as my layer. So now I'm going to get rid of my ivory pieces because, as I mentioned, that was just to show you guys what to do. But keep your trimmer handy for a minute here, okay? So you will notice when you layer this up that 2 of your corners or 2 lines fit absolutely beautifully. They've got a lovely border, but then 2 of them are really weird at their angles. So the other way for you to actually have done this was to take this piece of paper, put it on a big square of whatever you wanted underneath it, and actually sit here and measure a 1/4 inch from each side and then recut it. The reason I gave you that second base is because I took 2 of those jobs away from you. You didn't have to worry about this left side or the top side. Now all you need to worry about is just trimming down these 2 pieces. So the easiest way to do that is attach this together, and then we're just going to use our trimmer and clean up those 2 sides, okay? So make sure this is nice and attached to the base underneath it, because you don't want it moving on you. So make sure your 2 sides that you really wanted perfect are nice and lined up. And then don't worry as much about the other ones because we're going to clean that up. Okay? So one caveat is if you are planning to cover this section here at the bottom up with something, if you're not planning to show it, you actually don't need to clean anything up because you've got a really nice border around the top, and then it would only be this part here at the bottom. Maybe let's say you're putting like a decal or something here. Do you see that I'm not really seeing any of that messy part? So you don't even need to trim it, but I left mine wide open, so I wanted to clean it. So all I'm gonna do is I'm just going to rest this in my little cutting line. Make sure your pattern paper is straight, and then you'll notice that some of your cardstock goes over the cutting line and some of it's just gently resting against it. So when I pull down, I should have a nice clean cut. And then I think I missed that one part. Right there. There we go. So nice clean border here. So this side, it's a little messy too. If you're really confident with scissors, you can also just do one clean swipe up. But let's pretend we're not. And we're just going to rest this up at the top of the page and give yourself a nice border on the bottom. Okay? So that is the easiest way for you to clean up this little shadow, is by still cutting that second border piece that I mentioned. Okay, so this guy here, because I made the mistake and, cut out the empty space here, I may have to get a little funky, and that's okay. Or I can just flip my card around. So I'll do that. Hold on. I think I might have messed up by not doing the right corner. Okay, let me get a new piece. Let's go over it. I want it to be pretty. There. Nice clean piece. I fixed it. Okay, so this piece here, you're going to line up along the edge of this evergreen piece under it. So you're going right over top of it and lining it up to the edge instead of bringing it inward, because then you'd have two kind of shadows. We want this pulled right up to the side here, like that. And then you're going to tape it down with some double-sided tape. Okay? So grab your double-sided tape and tape that so that it's in place. Oh, just a reminder, put it against this corner. Like that. Okay. So you can now decorate it any way you wish. I decided to use the Peaceful Deer stuff. So what I started out with was this really tall tree and the set of 3 trees. I stamped those in evening evergreen on some white paper, and I fussy cut around them because we don't have any dies. But they'd also be really cute if you wanted just to, you know, cut out a circle and put them all on here, just stamping. But I thought, hey, I'll put in the little extra effort because Christmas is worth it. And I'm popping you up on dimensionals for my card here. You may also have some trees with dies that you could use, but I found they weren't too hard to work with. So pop both of those up. I did put the little trees just tucked in behind the big one, just to give a little bit better perspective. So tuck those in back here, like that. And then for the deer, I used this one that has the "Oh What Fun," because then I didn't have to actually put a sentiment on this card. So let me just show you how easy that is. We've got a piece of white and the soft suede ink. You could also use early espresso or a red or something, but just tap, tap, tap on that ink pad so that you're not getting ink on the block, just on the stamp. And then when you're stamping with a photopolymer, make sure to just hold it for 1 or 2 seconds, not as long as I have because I've been talking. But it gives you a really crisp image if you're able to just hold it more than like ink, 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 stamp, move. Give it 2 seconds for it to actually soak into the paper, especially on the white. And then with our awesome new punch here, so those of you who aren't sure, this little latch at the bottom, pull down and this punch will open. I like to just feed my image in to this space so that I can see it, instead of trying to turn this way and realizing there's no way I can line an image up. Turn the punch over so you can see into it, And then you can line up your little deer in that empty space. And you will also punch out 2 antlers at the same time, but you'll probably want different colors for that. And I just wanted a doe, so I didn't even bother using antlers. But you can see that my ink is rather dark right now. It will lighten a little bit into the soft suede. But let's pop him up on dimensionals, just 2 on the body, because we're going to attach her to the little tree here. Right there. And then if you want, you could certainly cut some little antlers out. Just use a glue dot to get them into the back. And, you know, an early espresso would be a beautiful color for that. Even the white doesn't look bad. And maybe you could color a rhinestone if you wanted to make this a Rudolph with a red nose. But I'm just going to finish my card off with some of these matted black dots because I didn't want anything shiny to take away from my paper. That's the reason I didn't make Rudolph, is because I really just wanted this DSP to be the focus of my card. And voila! I hope you guys liked this little sneak peek. And as I mentioned, all of these goodies will be available August 3rd. And if you have any questions, just let me know. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!